even though my son, hypothetically in this scenario, was wrong about the thing, and even though he was acting in a manner that was sort of like mathematically incongruent with this non-existent threat, trying to win the battle of ideas with him equals loss of trust and loss of safety in the relationship. Working on this notion of recognizing that my son feels awful about something and trying to participate lovingly and effectively in restoring safety and trust.
Right.
I'm trying to make him feel better, A, and B, improve the quality of our relationship. And I can do that. I want to make it clear that I don't think like an angry wife is equal to like vulnerable crying child.
Or a monster under the bed.
In the context of like how you react in real time, our brains calculate those two emotions differently, but I do think mechanically it's the same. Our brain says the thing you think is a problem isn't a problem, or the way you're acting is disproportionate to the thing that happened. And I'm going to now try to convince you in this like battle of ideas. And I think the math result's the same as when we abandoned the kid to cry alone in the dark. And I always say this, I don't want to make it sound like I'm trying to compare our partners to children.
Right.
They're not, our partners aren't in this metaphor. Just us are, and we have a choice. And so if we can habitually choose to restore safety, instead of habitually choose to try to convince the hurt person that they shouldn't be hurt, if we can do that over and over again, we can build that habit, we can always have trust in our relationships. And so I know that's an extraordinarily long way of saying, but that's step one to me.
Yeah.
That's what every guy could do in his relationship that I think in the average heterosexual relationship would benefit him tremendously.
And the important thing is it's a step that everybody is capable of taking. You can argue whether or not that will be effective, or you can argue whether or not that's going to work, or you are capable of going down that path and seeing where that leads.
It's a choice.
Okay.
And I'm saying when you don't do that, that's when the conflict pattern starts. That's when you don't see me, you don't hear me, you don't love me, you don't care about me. That is the reaction to us failing to recognize pain and then participate effectively in it.
All right, we're going to let you plug your book again in a second, but if you have heard this podcast before, we play something called Worst Date or First Date. So you can think back before your marriage, you can think back since your marriage, you can think about of your marriage, all you want. You have to give us either the worst date you've ever been on or the greatest first date you've ever been on. I don't care what happened to these the relationship after the first date. Worst date or first date, your choice.
All right, first date.
Okay, good. Selling hope here.
Yeah. Well, no, it was early, right? It was like right when the blog was like getting started. It was the first maybe month or two of blogging. And I'm trying online dating for the first time in my life. You know, I'm coming out of a 12, 13-year relationship, and she's gorgeous. She's this hearing specialist. And I'm like, oh, her. And so we agreed to meet at this like Mexican restaurant, which should have been a sign, right? Like nothing's happening after the Mexican food. Okay. And we're sitting there and I'm getting to know her and I'm excited that she's this like lovely, highly accomplished, highly intelligent person. But then like, she seemed anything but. So we've got the national park here. And she grew up in a town adjacent to the national park. And she's like, what do you like to do for fun? Like one of the things I like to do is go like hike or bike in the national park. She goes, I've never heard of it. Like she never heard of it. And I'm like, holy shit, you grew up in this town.
She's a hearing specialist.
So yeah. And but my least favorite part was the guy comes like, would you like tableside guacamole?
Yeah.
And sure, let's have tableside guacamole.
Right.
And he's like, so can I do anything like custom for you guys? And he goes, would you like anything changed? And she says, I want you to double all the ingredients. She wanted him to double the garlic, like onion and like the jalapeno. And I'm like, double all that shit? Are you out of your like, it was either like a sign that was her like genius way of saying, you and I are never going to be a thing, or like, I don't want to because this is how we're going to feel after this.
Right.
But what I interpret it as between the like park thing, where she again was like 30 something and had never heard of the national park she lives adjacent to, or doubling all the ingredients in guacamole.
It's a very specific type of hearing specialist.
I was like, this is the shittiest. And I was so excited because I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I was just like out with like this like lovely person. I was like, this feels hopeful.
Well, was she right? Did you try the guacamole?
It was fucking terrible. Am I allowed to say bad words?
Yeah, you can say fuck.
I am so sorry.
No, that's okay.
It was the shittiest guacamole ever.
But you have to respect that that's what she likes in her guacamole. You know?
You're not wrong. if I wanted to have a trusting relationship with her.
You couldn't trust her taste in guacamole or national parks. It's quirky at best.
I don't have a lot of bad dates, to be honest with you. I may not like somebody or they may not like me, but we tend to like coexist in like a really positive way.
When do you tell your dates that you do this?
Well, I haven't had any first like dates for like a while. I do sort of like see somebody regularly, but I don't really talk about it very much because
you don't.
I'm like pretty private. Yeah.
But they're not like, let me read what you're working on.
But no, she's on board and was like participated in like reading the book as I was writing it and providing feedback. No, and so I'm 42.
Yeah.
I'll be 43 in March, right around the time the book comes out.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think the things I have to say resonate with most of the people that I meet have either had like shitty dating relationships or they're usually divorced.
Right.
And over the last 9 years of sharing my work and my like how I think about my marriage, they're like, that would have been a game changer for me. If like my husband would have done that work. Or even now it'd be so cathartic if he at least did what you're doing. Instead of like doubling down on like everything was my fault.
Yeah, guys, the ladies like it when you do the work. And vulnerability shows a lot of strength that they also like. It makes them feel safe. Plug the work, plug the book, plug it all.
All right. So the book is called This Is How Your Marriage Ends, A Hopeful Approach to Saving Relationships. Comes out in North America on March 22nd next year, 2022. And we're in a bunch of other countries too, but I don't know that matters.
It does matter. We have the ¡2 podcast in Malta.
Hell yeah.
We're on the charts in like 75 countries.
You're badass. So in the UK, Australia, the Netherlands, Germany, Italy, we've been very blessed to get some international deals. So we're going to be in other places too. I think a lot of those are coming out like the following month in April.
Okay.
I'm pretty excited about
And
it.
if
We'll
they
see what
want to
happens.
go back and read your blogs you don't want to read?
Hope people like it. Well, it's going to be there because I'm not going to go do anything about it. So if anybody wants to see what like the more moronic version of me, if that's even possible, was saying in 13, 14, 15, they can go do that at the blog's called Must Be This Tall to Ride. Just mustbethistalltoride.com. That's a nod to like me being short. And I'm about 5'9". When I got on online dating sites right after my marriage ended, all these women, even if they were like 5'2", 5'3", were like, he must be like 6'1". And I'm like, are you shitting me?
Yeah.
Like I didn't know. I shit you not. I didn't know I was short until I got divorced. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm
That's
short.
a good title for a book too. We have dove in ad infinitum to that particular issue around here. It drives me nuts. Women have got to get over that. They think every guy is 6'1", and really like 11% of men are 6'1". They just think and it's a problem. So good for you, and props for owning your 5'9"-ness.
Yeah, I'm not insensitive about it anymore. That was like a traumatic experience for me. I think people are allowed to be attracted to whatever. I don't want somebody to tell me that I have to like somebody that weighs a certain amount, or that, like I want to be attracted to whoever I'm attracted to organically.
People are attracted to stuff that hasn't worked out for them in the past. That's the way I look at it.
I'm not saying it's a healthy relationship choice, but this like sort of organic, this is what looks good to me. I am way over this. Matt isn't my cup of tea. They don't have to like me.
Well,
like,
I hope you sell a lot of books and then you can stand on your wallet and then you're 6'1".
That'd be fun.
There you go. This was fun. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you so much.
Matthew Fray, everybody. As far as us, like, share, subscribe, and please review this podcast. Your reviews mean a lot in the podcasting ecosystem. Go to greatlovedebate.com. We may or may not have some live shows coming. I don't know. I'm getting the itch again. I'm getting the itch, and the venues are starting to call for 2022 and like, hey, come back, do a show. We'll consider it. Shoot us an email, greatlovedebate@gmail.com if you have any questions for me or Matt or anything else. Because as always, at the Great Love Debate, we never stop making love. See you next time.